you have decided to ditch your moss pole, you have come to the right video, because I could not stand the moss pole. For me, it was really messy job and I wanted a lot more kind of a cleaner finish. At the same time, I wanted gigantic leaves. I wanted it all. My aim was for my Monstera to touch my ceiling, which it has done now. It just looks amazing. I just don't know what to do now. I still need to figure that out, but there is always cuttings I can do. But enough of that. So the reason I wanted to shoot this video was whoever comes into my kitchen is always blown away how neat and tidy the Monstera looks and how amazing the leaves look. I wanted to then shoot the video how I got there step by step. The reason being, I am going to implement the same process for another plant which is not as heavier in terms of stem as Monstera, but the process remains the same. And I thought it would be a really good idea if I can do a shoot step by step how to make it climb to the wall, and at the same time there is no mess of a moss pole. So let's dive into it. Thank you so much for tuning in to Urban Tropical. This is Raj. Decided to go for option where there is no damage to the wall, either because you rent that property or you are like me who just does not want any plaster to come off. This is the safest option. What you do is go for the thinnest board possible. This is maybe 3 or 4 mm. It was actually MDF, not even plyboard. Plyboard is a lot more rougher. MDF is a lot more smoother, but trust me, aerial roots find its way to stick to it. So if you are not fussed about the decor, you can use it as it is and just let the nature take its course. It will be filled with leaves, or you can decide to paint it. I have used white water-based paint so it can blend more easily to my walls. Of course, I have done a bad job of painting, but leaves will soon take over, so that's okay. So then you need the plant ties, or you can use any kind of rope. It will be eventually stapled to this. Anything you have, you can use that. It has to be really strong because Monstera stem is quite solid. You don't want this to be super flimsy so that it just falls off, and because it will be pulling this board with it, so you want something really nice and solid. So that's done. Now we need this gun. Gun actually really works better because once you staple this onto this, it doesn't move, and that's all we want. We don't want it to move. At the same time, we do not staple it so tight that so you can decapitate the plant. So that's, you have to be careful. I'll show you. I always leave like 1 mil or 2 mil looseness, and if I feel it's getting tighter, I undo it and I redo it again just to give the stem some breathing space. So step number 2 is how do we attach it to the wall without damaging it? And I have just done this for my neon pothos because it isn't doing great and I just want to have really good foliage. So I'm just going to undo this because I have just attached it. So this board is bigger than the other one because I am expecting a lot more branches to go up. So I just want to have enough space, and it easily blends into my walls. It's not easy to notice that I have got some hideous kind of board. So actually these are not Command brand. I have just bought Velcro strips. Normal brand from Amazon, they are quite cheap, but I have used a lot of it so that the board does not fall off. So I have got one at the top and I have got one at the bottom, and the corresponding side is on the wall. So when I have attached it to the wall, it's actually quite easy to come off. If I had to pull it, I have never used other than Command before, so I'm not sure in terms of will it damage my wall, but I don't think so. So if I use blow dryer to the other side which is attached to the wall, glue should really loosen up and it should come off, but I have no intention of it bringing down. So let's do that. So I have done this, and I'm just going to attach it to the corresponding side which is just there, and one's right here, and just go for it. It's sometimes so hard to get it right because it's quite high up from the wall. So you will hear the sound when it goes into the clicking position. So once the board is stuck to the wall, we can let it hang around maybe for 24 hours, but I have already done this exercise, so this is good to go. So if I have got staple gun, cool, but if I don't have a staple gun, there is another method I'm going to show you. So I have got self-adhesive Velcro right here, which is stuck to this board panel, and the stem of the plant goes right there, so this bit is not sticky anymore. So I put this one in for example. This is a Velcro plant ties which has no glue to it. So once I put this on top of this, they are going to keep this branch in place. So you can always use much thicker Velcro if your stems are quite heavy. So this one is really narrow. So that's another option, only if you don't have the staple gun. And we do the same right up here and we are good to go. So let's do this now with the staple gun. So I have just cut 5 pieces, 4 out of this cotton rope. I just wanted to show you that when you do white on white, how pleasant it looks. But if you have a green, that's not bad either, because green really kind of blends in with the stem. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. I just end up cutting too many pieces of the white rope, so I'm just gonna go ahead with that and staple it one by one. So I just did this one for this exercise to show you. It's not really solid because my Velcro is really skinny. If it was a bit more thicker, so you can always opt for a bit thicker one to make sure you have a good grip. So I'm just going to go ahead and start to staple it. So I'm going to do it right at the top so that roots can easily attach to the board. So goes in here and goes in here. That's done. Bad angle when I was fixing it, so I just wanted to show you from this angle how it looks. So this is my plant which actually isn't doing great, so I just wanted to have really lush feeling in my living room, so I have decided to give it this support. So it's right there. So I missed one staple, so I just did 2 just to make sure it doesn't come off. And then I have got it right there, and then I have got it right at the top. You can see clearly the difference that green is so much more visible than the white one. White one kind of blends in and green ones kind of stands out. So you can always have a choice which one you want to go for. And here I end up using 4 because I missed it. So I need to just take this one out. And once it starts to stick to this board, I have to go to this side. So all these new vines will just follow through because this isn't doing great, to be honest, and not happy with it. So I just thought that my climbing method might save my neon pothos and give it a new lush of life. If you have decided to ditch moss pole, this is extremely important note. You must look at the location you are planting it in. Mine one is on east facing. There is no window in the opposition. It only gets light from the south facing side of my garden. If you will see, this is me coming in from my garden. All the leaves are leaning towards the light. That's what plants do. So what happens is this plant looks amazing from this side, but if I just turn around, that's what I get to look at, all the leaves tending towards the light. So if you have got north facing wall, it will work wonders. If there is a big window towards the south, that means it's going to get sun on all the directions rather than just on one side. There is no way that I can tie these leaves back to make it a flattened look because leaves tend to come out towards the light. So I don't want to create problems for my plant. I am happy with it. So this is something for you to seriously think about the location before you decide to put it to the wall. I mean, I have no other location. I mean, I have got darkness, to be honest, everywhere else. So for me, this is the only position for this stunning plant. The other thing I forgot to mention is that make sure your board is sufficient for the job. I have used around maybe half a meter wide board. It's not sufficient because aerial roots are coming out. So if you rent a property, this could be a problem because it can damage the walls. If I look at this one, this aerial root is sticking to the wall. So this one I have moved. Now you can see the marks it's leaving. So if I have to remove this, that means I know I have to paint the walls here. So this is something to think before you decide to go for the board. And then you know, okay, how big of the board I need. Because this board is super skinny, they're not really expensive. If I could go back, I would have done a bigger board, and I maybe would have done a bit more sections of the board rather than fitting a one big board. I just think it makes it easier in terms of if one board comes off the wall, as in Velcro loosens, the whole plant won't collapse. Not that it has collapsed, I'm just thinking out loud, there can be some scenarios. So this board I have used is approximately 5 foot by just over half a meter, so it's quite big board. So now I have to think about the scenarios, what I'm supposed to do. One is reaching the ceiling. I mean, I wish that it can go up the ceiling this way. I'm still thinking ideas in my head. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that these aerial roots, when they come new, they start to attach to the wall. All the old ones, they don't. So new aerial roots, if they have access, they will cling on to it. At the same time, if you don't have actually paint as well, you can use wallpaper, or you can use any colored wallpaper you want based on your decor. I was really going for a jungle vibe wallpaper, but once I tried the sample out, I couldn't tell the difference between the wallpaper and my plant. So I decided to go with really plain background. But I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you do have any questions, you can always leave it in the comment box. Thank you. Bye-bye.